There has been a Kumar Sangakkara-shaped hole in Sri Lanka for quite a while now. But it wasn't just him. They lost their second greatest batter as well, their best bowler, and their seamer over a short period of time. Like, it got really dark for Sri Lanka. At one stage, the best thing that could happen to a Sri Lankan cricket fan was that Niroshan Dickwalla got suspended for life, or that he was brought back from one of those suspensions. And it wasn't that long ago that I had them as the worst chance in the World Test Championship. But despite a tough schedule, they've done really, really well. And when you look at recent times, you can see that they are playing pretty good cricket altogether. Sri Lanka has a really interesting run ahead of them. Tough home and away series against South Africa and Australia. And a WTC final might be beyond them. But how on earth did they even get into this conversation from where they were? If you love cricket on a deep spiritual level and want to be involved when no matches are being played, we have the game for you. Hit Wicket is so good that Harsha Bhogle and me have backed it. And that's a lot of nerd energy behind one game. This is a strategic game of cricket, and it's not just about whacking your screen really, really hard with your finger. This isn't a game where you swipe all around to try and hit the ball. You work out what works best based on real-life cricket situations. For instance, dot balls bring pressure, ones and twos lead to fours. There is no way you can just hit a six every ball or take wickets all the time. This is proper cricket, yet it still has some special gaming powers in there as well. And so this game is about playing, but also building and managing your team. You are the batter, bowler, owner, coach, captain. It's your dream, right? And there are no ads, it's just cricket. Download Hit Wicket now and bring out the cricket legend in you, because Hit Wicket is a cricket game made for you and supported by other cricket nerds. Stick it in your pocket today. This was made using MV Players Insights. The same technology that supports the England and New Zealand Test players is available to club cricketers as well. Kaminda Mendes is as good as Bradman on this particular metric, but still, like, I think if there's any metric you're as good as Bradman, you've got to take it. I mean, this is some incredible list to be on. And he is now the fastest to 1,000 runs of any batter who's ever batted goofy-footed. Of course, not every player here went on to be an unquestionable great. Vinod Kambli is on this list as well. But it does give you an idea of the talent when a couple of these guys went on to average around 60, one of them almost 100, and another one almost 50. Like, it's a pretty good list to be on. And part of the reason is so far in Test cricket, he has not failed. I thought New Zealand had something with the way they were probing him outside off stump. But even when they got edges, they either dropped them or they just found the gaps. Even his edges are perfect at the moment. And he's come at a really interesting time because Kumar and Mahela are gone. So we would never see this as like a golden period for batting in Sri Lanka. But have a look at how many of their high scorers are actually playing for them right now. Now, we all know that Angelo Matthews has had more comebacks than, I don't know, Niroshan Dickwalla or Hulk Hogan. But this has been a really important one because he's like the rug that really brings the room together. And of course, they have Dimas Karunaratne, who may not want to be captain anymore, but they've still got that class from him. Those two are a couple of really high-level batting talents. But on top of that, they just know the game, right? They've been around forever. But perhaps the more interesting players would be someone like Dinesh Chandimal, who's making runs again. He does feel like he's a bit of a batch scorer, but when he's on, their entire team looks a lot better. And he's held up some very low scores with some incredible knocks of his own. And he hasn't been the only one. My glorious DDS, Dhananjay De Silva, has been exceptional for a while now and making runs at crucial times, like when the average is under 25. Both of these guys have been able to do that. So DDS, the man with the best posture in cricket, has used that to stand tall when his team has needed it again and again. Now, of course, he hasn't been captaining all that long, but his transformation as a bits and pieces player to a real player has helped them a lot. And you add Pathum Nissanka into all this, who only makes runs on the road, which is like kind of a really good thing to do anyway. But you suddenly get the idea that this is a very good batting lineup right now. And it wasn't that long ago that they really didn't have like a top order to speak of. Like you could see in the last 5 years this has been building, but they've still managed to find another level. And when you compare them to the rest of the world, it looks even better, right? They are now a consistent, if not sexy, batting lineup. And remember that having batting usually allows you to be consistent as a team. Of course, if all those runs come at home, it doesn't matter. But you can see here that it's actually been holding up pretty well away from home as well. And that's a very important thing because that means that they shouldn't be absolutely swept aside every time they tour anyway. What about the bowling? Well, this should be called after Herath, but you get the idea, I think. For a while, Sri Lanka really struggled to take wickets with spin. The last 4 years have been really good, and this year has been even better. But it's not just the turning ball, because I suppose we assume they would eventually work that out. Their quicks have held up pretty well also, though they had a blip year last year. However, you see this a lot with Asian bowling attacks. Sometimes it can just be where you play more than anything else. Also, they've more than made up for that this year. And right at the moment, it would be hard to look at this and not say that their bowling is trending in a very good way. Now, a lot of that rests on the fact that their seamers need not to get injured. And they do appear to be the kind of bowling lineup that even if someone sneezes, 4 other people get injured. But if they can keep that together, they also now have a spinner. How about Jarrod, who they have just decided is going to bowl every single over of theirs. So far, he's only working for them as a strike bowler, that is, away from home. And they're trying to turn him into someone who can also be good as a stock bowler away. They've got some work to do there, but I think he's worth investing in because I really think he is that level of a talent. Now, considering his workload, I mean, in England, they had him bowling like a third of their overs in the games he played. He might get a fast-tracked education. The problem for a lot of Asian spinners is when they go overseas, they don't get a chance. He's getting more than enough chances to work out pitches all around the world. So you start to think about all of these things together. They have batting, though some of that is aging. They have seamers, though not always as healthy as they would want them to be. And they have a spinner they really and truly believe in. There is a reason to look at this team and wonder what the next few years will be like, or at the very least, how the SLC will muck all of this up. But right now, if you were to say anything about the Sri Lankan Test team, I think the thing that you would say is they look like they are whole again. I have a book out with Abhishek Mukherjee, and it is called Overthrowing Cricket's Empire. And it's about the stories of how each team beat England for the first time. We go all the way back to the demon Fred Spofforth getting annoyed at W.G. Grace for acting a little bit like Alex Carey. And then we come all the way to present times with Rashid Khan's England's redemption. We cover every single team to beat England in a major international, but we also talk about the incredible stories like the barefoot basher from Fiji that almost played for New Zealand. In fact, this book is full of tales like that, like how Pakistan lost a top batter after he was on the run from an angry husband of a movie star he was having an affair with, and also how one future captain of his nation realised he might have to go out and bat at Lords and that he didn't own his own pads. Cricket was used as a tool by the empire, but what happens when those nations grow up and get good at it? Find Overthrowing Cricket's Empire on Amazon today.